2 years ago, Islamic State forces overran the Iraqi city of Mosul. Suddenly, ISIL was a force to be taken seriously, fighting to create their dream of an Islamic caliphate. For the people of Mosul, it's been 2 years of terror, living under harsh new laws. Their city turned into a combat zone as Iraqi forces and their allies fight back. I'm Steve Chow. On this episode of 101 East, we report from the front line of the battle for Mosul.
On the road to Mosul, signs of a nation ravaged by the war with Islamic State.
Bombed building on your right. Bombed building there. Another one coming up on the road.
Around his cars.
Strewn by the side, the wreckage of an IS convoy pulverised by Iraqi troops a week before we arrived. US attack helicopters hover above us. IS has set oil wells ablaze, hoping to stop the US-led coalition from launching devastating airstrikes. The whole place feels on the brink of chaos, and the war against IS hangs in the balance. As the Iraqi army moves up from the south, Kurdish troops attack IS towns to the east and north of Mosul. The Kurds run an autonomous region in the north. While they're often at odds with Baghdad, they've formed an unlikely and unstable alliance to fight IS. They've been the West's most consistent ally in this war.
I'm very happy today. I'm very happy today because war face to face to finish a Daesh.
As we're filming, they spot an IS spy drone overhead and open fire.
Is that a drone up here? Yeah, there it is, drone. Yes, it's coming down.
For some of the Kurdish troops, known as Peshmerga, this fight is personal. Firas Daoud's hometown is just beyond the front line, and his mother is still trapped under IS control.
خود نمد 10 راجل داومی 20 راجل مال 10 راجل مخیری خورد خو غذای خو کن اول 2 سال امیکو دنیاوی نتیتیه بچهار بخو الحمد لله هردي بيننا ان شاء الله بزنا خودي.
Firas's unit moves up to the front lines and their helmet cams record the battle. As the Kurdish troops close in, IS snipers open up.
قناص سيدي قناص حسين
As bombs fly overhead, their machine gun jams. After some hasty repairs, they return fire. By day's end, they have IS on the back foot. but there's a long way for this battle to run. When Islamic State seized control of Mosul in 2014, it shocked the world and signalled a new era in global jihad.
The Islamic State that we saw sweep into northern Iraq in particular, this was really an army. This was not an insurgent force. It wasn't terrorist cells. This was really a conventional army that had enormous experience from the Syrian battlefields.
Retired General David Petraeus knows Mosul intimately. He commanded American troops here after the US toppled Saddam Hussein.
To see what we'd fought so hard to achieve together with our Iraqi partners just be undone so rapidly was it's like a blow to the solar plexus.
The leader of IS, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, appeared in a Mosul mosque to declare the birth of the caliphate.
And it marked, in a lot of ways, this was arguably the high watermark, in fact, for the Islamic State.
At its peak, IS controlled about a third of the populated area of Iraq and Syria and unleashed a wave of terror that struck fear into the hearts of Iraqis and Westerners alike. Bismillah! When we return to Iraq in November, hopes of a quick victory have been dashed. A humanitarian crisis is unfolding, and the sick and the wounded stream out of the city.
دكاتره ماكو هناك منطقتنا بجوجلي فقالوا لي تعال جيبوا لي السياره صعدتوا بالسياره جبتوا لي جاي هو قاطبوا يعني من يعني ماكو علاجات ماكو.
Some of the casualties are treated at a rudimentary clinic in a refugee camp just down the road. They've been hit by shrapnel and sniper fire. A medic, Dr. Fadi, is trying to arrange care for two injured children hit in a mortar strike. Their neighbour says they went to a military clinic but were turned away.
عد البيشمركة قال ما تفوت تروح على المخيم يابا حالة خطرة قال يروح على المخيم.
Inside the medical tent, we come across a distressing scene.
This patient is died. توفت. لا حول ولا قوة. I'm very angry to see the patient is died because no ambulance, no help the patient. I don't.
As a damp and freezing winter sets in, the camps are filling up fast. The fighting in Mosul forces 10,000 people a week from their homes. Isra Ali is one among more than 100,000 Mosul locals now forced to survive on international aid.
يعني احنا ما توقعنا ان نطلع من يعني كان قوة القصف فظلينا كان يم ورا البيت مالنا مثل الوادي ظلينا نمشي مع الوادي يضربونا ننبطح مع القاع ننبطح على القاع حتى القصف لا يجينا. الفشق يعني حيل كان مثل المطر فوقنا.
Isra and her large family had already endured more than 2 years of harsh Islamic State rule.
هم يعني كانوا حيل والله يخوفون، يعني يصرخون على المرأة، يعني يهنون الرجل، ياخذون الهوية مالته يجلدونه. هيك يعني كانوا، إذا كان مزين لحيته يجلدونه، إذا كان مرته رافعة الخمار.
The schools became factories for fundamentalism and Isra kept her children home.
ابن جيراننا استلم الكتب ويعني شفته، فكان كله عندنا العبوات والسلاح، شلون تضرب بالسلاح، يعني ما كان يعني منهج مدرسة.
In this unforgiving land, amidst all the tragedy and suffering, there are glimmers of hope. Feverish, the Kurdish fighter I met on my first visit in October, has liberated his hometown. And against the odds, he has been reunited with his mother, who survived for 2 years under IS rule. His mother, Fauzia, is overjoyed every time he stops by. Over hot tea, she recounts her relief after living so long in fear. Fauzia had worried she'd never see Firas or his 3 brothers again. Amidst an eerie winter fog, Firas takes me to what was once his sister's home. It's been destroyed not by IS, but in an airstrike. The bomb hit at 5 a.m. His sister and 7 other family members were all home and killed in an instant. Their bodies lay under the rubble for 2 weeks before anyone could come and dig them out.
خدي ما توصف كران شو بده يجن مرة عائلوي 8 نفر شت أكثر تشليت قالك بزحمته هلا
It's our 3rd trip to Iraq. The battle is reaching a crucial stage. The armed vehicles bear the scars of this long and brutal fight, the windows shattered by sniper fire.
Just our security advisor, who's in the Humvee in front. It's rocket fire. We're getting very close now to the front line. There's still civilians here, plenty of them, but this is obviously an active combat zone.
IS is still holding out in the suburbs just below this observation post. Civilians desperate to escape risk death in the crossfire.
They're carrying a white flag. هم هسه موجودين بهاي الإحداثيات.
Being told that there's ISIS in a car and 4 ISIS fighters on motorbikes that are supposed to be coming to attack the Iraqi army positions. They're a bit on edge right now.
Iraqi military helicopters move in and a full-blown firefight erupts. Civilians still live here, but it's an unrelenting attack. After enduring days of fighting, some of the residents make it out to safety.
والله ما تنوصف يعني حياة مأساوية. والله دمرونا مرمرونا لا ليلنا ليل ولا نهارنا نهار لا أشر ولا أشرب ولا ميتين وقاعدين وكانت الخوف.
والله اكو كانت انفجارات وكان ضرب. كانت مرعبة صراحة مجامعات وخوف وجهال تصايح وبكاء ونسوان. يا والله.
A few houses away, the soldiers detain 2 suspected IS fighters. This old man insists they're innocent and denounces IS. But the soldiers insist they have proof and take us to see the evidence.
What is this?
هاي التي انتي مالتهم المدة مالتهم كيميائي.
فتحناها لبرا طبينا جوا فتحنا الباب كله صواريخ واحزمه ناسفه جوا باب مقفوله بواحدها قبلها كانوا قاعدين بالدواعش.
The soldiers take all 3 men into custody. With us looking on, everything is done by the book. But it's not always this way. Many soldiers boast about beating detainees or even worse, and they have the videos to prove it. Despite their relief at being liberated, the local Sunni population harbours long-standing grievances against the Shiite-dominated army. We see signs of that bitter divide when a soldier shouts, "We are Shia," and shoots over the head of a fleeing child.
What are you fucking doing?
It's not the way to win hearts and minds, and that will be crucial to the broader war against IS. There's no electricity here, and after the sun goes down, the city falls into darkness. Airstrikes rock the city. At dawn, the onslaught continues.
سيدي كناس؟
قناص سنايبر احمد شنو ذيك العالم شوفها لو انا من عتارة يعني شوفوا تعرض
رموا علينا من ذاك الاتجاه اتجاه العدو علينا.
رموا على جماعتنا هنا؟
اي على جماعتنا كلهم، ها قاطع مالتنا كله، قاطع المسؤولين. لا لا لا، النخلات النخلات، البستان البستان. احمد ضياء لا تروح. ضياء سيد علي والله العظيم بالبستان والقرآن بالبستان.
It's easy to see how relations here could turn sour. This man complains his house was being shot at, even though there's no IS around.
اكو حركة البارحة بالليل عندهم؟
منو؟
دواعش؟
والله اللي بالبيت ما طلعت من الخوف، البيت انضرب مالي وظليت قاعد والله.
يعني ماكو حركة؟
والله اقول لك انا قاعد هنا يعني ما شفت احد.
The highway past this point has not been cleared of roadside bombs, so the soldiers take the back way into the next front. As the soldiers enter a hamlet on the edge of the city, locals vent their fury at IS.
الله يقتلهم ان شاء الله الدواعش الدواعش. العالم داعش لا بتقاش علينا. ولا والاسماء والحراميه المسلمشيه. ما خلوها فينا. الله يستركم ان شاء الله.
But there's also confusion about who was with the enemy. This woman complains her son has been detained for no good reason, but the soldiers won't listen.
طبعا يقول اهلي مع داعش، بعدين ايش عملوها؟ اخذوا هاي الورقه، انطيت بيد الواحد ضابط، اخذ من ايدي، اخذ ابني غادي وداها.
روحي لبيتك هسه ابوي.
روحي، كون ما عنده شيء ما ياخذونه. خليه. احنا جايين على داعش، هو يشتغل ويا داعش.
انطر رقم على
سيدي. جايين على مي غير على داعش.
بس انطر رقم على سيدي.
يلا سعداني هاي تعال
As more people flee the front line, it's clear IS snipers are not far away.
They're driving fast and the refugees are packed in low because we've been hearing sniper rounds come overhead, the distinctive crack or zing of a round followed by the thump that is made when a rifle's fired in a distance. There's another one. So they've made it out under fire.
The battle for Mosul is only half won. IS still controls the western side of the city, and the fight will not end here.
The liberation of Mosul from the Islamic State will be a very, very important achievement and a milestone in the battle against the Islamic State. But it will not mark the end of the Islamic State in Iraq or certainly in Syria.
For many of the residents, it's time to put the distress of the past 2 years behind them and try out simple new freedoms.
The men in this village are making a big show of shaving off their beards, and the local barber is back in business. Assalamu alaikum.
What may seem just cosmetic, hairstyles and beards, is also symbolic. IS used brutal authoritarianism to alter the appearance of a whole community. This young man is having a trim that would have landed him and his barber in deep trouble.
والله ياخذوني اول شيء على المقرمه الحزبه. يا اكتب تعهد انه ما زين هيك زيانه وجلد وياخذون هويتي.
For the people of East Mosul at least, this could be the beginning of a new era.
How do you feel now?
Oh, it's so good. It's a new life. I just born now. Yes, it's so good. Thank God and thank Iraqi army. They released us yesterday. Yesterday, yes. And now it's the life is so good, so good, and we will keep it good.
As we drive out of Mosul, it's hard to share that optimism. So many people in need of hope, so many reasons to fear the worst.